what is the difference between the revelations granted prophets and messengers? There's four main opinions on what's the difference between a prophet and a messenger. A Nabi and a Rasul. One is that they're synonyms. And amongst those who held this opinion was Imam al-Taftazani. Others held that there is a difference. And amongst those who held this opinion was Imam al-Taftazani. He took more than one opinion in more than one book. But it's not decisively established. So he changed his opinion. So one is that they're synonymous. The other is that the other three opinions revolve around there being a difference. The main opinion is that if you look at the language, a Nabi is man yunabba ilayhi, right? Or man yunba ilayhi. A Nabi is one who is granted a portentous, teachings. Right? So a Nabi is one who's granted revelation. عَمَّا يَتَسَاءَلُونَ عَنِ النَّبَإِ الْعَظِيمِ. What are they asking each other about? About that great news. So the Naba is the great news. That's why one of the names for news in Arabic is Al-Anba. Wakalatul Anba, the news agency. Right? But it's great news. It's not just nonsense about someone's face changing or some weird things taking place. Who cares, right? So it's great news. So in that sense, we'd understand a prophet is one who's granted revelation from God. Rasul is from Risala. Risala is one who bears a message to others. Right? So in that sense, they made the distinction. A prophet is one who's granted revelation, and man uhiya ilayhi bishara, one who is inspired by revelation of divine guidance. And a messenger is one وَأُمِرَ بِتَبْلِيغِهِ, who above and beyond that has been granted specific command as to conveying it, as to whom he conveys it and how they convey it. Which doesn't necessitate that a prophet does not convey it, but that a messenger has a greater degree of responsibility in scope, scale, range, ways of conveyance. They have so that's the distinction. And the reason why we would affirm distinction, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sometimes mentions them together. Right? Of the prophets and messengers. Which would, if they were synonymous, would mean of the prophets and prophets. Which would, you wouldn't. Right? If Bilal and Bill were the same person, said tell Bill and Bilal. Wouldn't make sense because they're the same person. So if prophet and messenger were synonyms, such verses would be problematic. So there would be a distinction in meaning. Others, looking at some of the verses, etc., try to deduce that prophets came with reinforcing and confirmatory duties, whereas a messenger was granted new revelation, like the prophets of Bani Israel. And many of them came to confirm and renew and remind of the teachings of a previous prophet or previous messenger. But that's a more subtle thing, right? And the position that's stronger is they say المعاني اللغوية تراعى في الحقائق الشرعية. المعاني اللغوية تراعى في الحقائق الشرعية. The linguistic meanings are taken into proper consideration in the Shari'i realities of words and expressions. So linguistically, a Nabi, Nubuwa, is from Naba, which is a great news that someone receives or can. But of course it's not, but the other aspect, a Naba, you receive it to convey it, right? So that's where it's not such a clear-cut difference of opinion.